Welcome to the Model Rail Replacement Podcast, helping you get to your onward journey. A friendly service that helps you get from A to B, or probably nowhere at all.
Well, here we are again. It's the Model Rail Replacement Podcast. I'm your host, James, and with me is co-host and producer,
Sam. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Sam. How are we this week?
I'm exhausted. So I started my new job this week, and I'll tell you what, it's really enjoyable. It's really nice. Bomber. It's full on. I'm very tired.
They want their pound of,
They do, but in not retaliation, but in return, they're giving me more and more qualifications, so I can do more and more and more on the electrical network. So I'm very happy in that aspect. It's just a massive change of pace. But I did have so part of my job requires fault finding underground cable faults, which, as you can imagine, when it's underground, you can't see the cable. Therefore, you have to try and work out where the fault might be. It's really dull when you try and explain it to people. But one of the faults that we had was right on. It's not the River Hamble, but it's right by St Denis train station in Southampton, and and I was basically sat on the river waiting for something to be done, and I was just watching the trains go across the bridge. Like it was gorgeous. I mean, you know me, I like trains and a bridge and a river and water. It's right up my street. But it was a glorious day, and like it was just nice in this area. I'm trying to like find a fault, but also just having the trains go past and stuff like that. And they were so close to St Denis train station that I could hear the noise it made as it sort of went across the bridge, went behind the houses, and you could hear it joining the main line at St Denis. And it was, from a train nerd point of view, the guy I was working with, who's sort of like my mentor at the moment, was like, "You quite into trains then?" I was like, "Am I?" Luckily I've known him long enough that I didn't feel ashamed to sort of, because it's that thing, isn't it, when you first meet someone, you're like, how much of a nerd I am do I tell you about? But luckily I've worked with him for years, so I didn't feel too bad about telling him about it.
I don't care anymore. I'm married. I just go full hog now.
What about you? How's your week been?
Well, I've literally just found out the penguins have a fact on the side of the packet. So they always end up joke on the bottom. Well, now they do facts on the side as well. And I've just learnt that penguins eat around 15 fish every day. So a little fact of the day for you there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a wrapper in front of me, just spied it. It's amazing. Modelling wise, what have I been doing? The Rail 200 project. My goodness gracious me. I really didn't need it, to be honest, Pico. But I've gone too far now, too far to quit. So I've been building a goods lockup. I think it was it's described as it's a London Brighton goods lockup. So I found some photos online and built a model based on it. It's been quite exhausting. I'm quite pleased with it. I've even got bolts and hinges on it and stuff like that in proper detail. And I'm on the final stretch now, I think, for buildings wise. I think I've just got to build the platform and station building. And I was umming and ahhing about just making it a goods yard and not having the station. But I just felt it'd be more fun to just squeeze that in on such a tiny baseboard. So you've got the goods yard and the siding, the station, the run round, and we've got a water tower and everything, and without making the scene look too crammed. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's cool.
I'm gonna build a station and see how we get on, and then hopefully I can then put the scenics on, and then that's that. That'll be done, and I can get back to the 009. What else have I been doing? Oh, I've been playing trains. We were playing trains. I got the new Rapido E1, but things didn't go too well for me with that locomotive.
No, what happened?
Well, I put it on the track, and it juddered like the track was dirty. So I cleaned the track, and it ran to the end of the fiddle yard, and I stopped it. I pressed the reverse button, and it started moving, even though there was no power or it was set to zero. I thought, oh, that's not good. And then the sound just popped. And then the controller just made an horrendous and got an error thing on it, and it wouldn't stop until I removed the loco from the track. I was like, think there might be a faulty decoder in that one. But Rapido, good as gold. got in contact with them and immediately sent me a warranty form and that, and I've sent the loco off to repair. So hopefully she'll be back with me soon, because it's a lovely model, absolutely lovely model. But yeah, it's just a bit of a shame that it's gone that way.
What livery did you get it in?
I got it in London, Brighton, Umber. When there was number 137, so it was the one without the I think it's condensing pipe coming out the side, which I hadn't realised, because I would have bought the other one, because I quite like the condensing pipe with that little bit of copper at the front, I think, to make it a little bit smarter. But I have seen that the Brighton Circle have their own limited edition of 110 in a sort of like a really dark blue kind of livery, lined red. It looks really nice, but I think you have to be a member of the Brighton Circle to get hold of that. It had a limited edition, but that's what I've been doing. Took on to news.
Yes. What have we got?
Well, news, mate. Akira Scale. I don't think it was any surprise for anyone, particularly as one of the photos was accidentally leaked a couple of months back. Batch 2 of the Class 50s. So yeah, there's the GBRF pair, which are the Akira Scale exclusives. And if there's any surprises there, that they'd fall under the Akira Scale exclusives. So you'll have to get them direct from Akira Scale. There's 4 other liveries that were revealed, including 50029 Renault in the revised NSE dark blue, which was used on the West of England. I think we're out of Old Common as well, but this has got the West of England branding on the side. So Network South East started to brand all their routes, and their units and locos would get a small logo. So this one has the West of England. Always welcome to see a Network South East livery. We also got Arc Royal in BR blue, so I'm sure that'll be a welcome one for many collector. Particular favourite of mine, 50046 Ajax, or Ajax, however you want to pronounce that one. It's the large logo with grey roof, and what's quite splendid about this logo is it held on to that livery right up until its removal from service, which I think was 1991 or 1992 off the top of my head. So it held on to that large logo, BR blue, very battered and worn out. Think it had a black roof by that point, so you may have to repaint the roof if you want it for a later loco. And it had like a Network Southeast flash up by the top headlights. But yeah, that one I think is a welcome addition to the range, and obviously something a little bit different if you're sort of doing Network Southeast period, to have a large logo blue locomotive in the fleet as well. And then the other one is it's 50019. It's Ramillies, which is in Lara blue, which was, I believe, a livery that the depot applied to the locomotive when it was put into the engineering pool. So it was used on engineering trains, and it's got this. It's the BR blue livery, but it's like the large logo blue, but without the large logo on it. I think it's probably the best way to describe it. But without the yellow surround, so it's a bit of a mix. It's got black windows, yellow front, and then just the BR blue on the side. It's quite, even though it's the same colour as BR blue, it looks different. It's quite a striking livery. I quite like it, and I think that'll be a quite welcome one as well. So yes, plenty of Class 50s coming from Akira Scale. With sound or without sound, you take your choice. So that's all them. Now, the other announcement that we have learned of is Ellis Clark has announced they're having twins. So congratulations there to them. They are the Press Twins cement wagons, which will be coming in 00 gauge. A nice high detailed wagon. I think this will be very popular with steam era modelers, and probably the Tops era or pre-Tops era diesel modelers as well. I don't know if they actually went into the, probably removed by probably the 80s. No, according to this fact sheet, they've sold it on well into the 80s. So there you go, up into the 80s you could get them. But yeah, they look very good. I don't think anyone has really modelled these. I think you can get the Daypole kit, if I recall, but I don't think they've been in the ready to run range. Not off the top of my head. Maybe Backman did them. I'm not sure, but they look good. So yeah, that's Clark Railworks by Ellis Clark Trains. Go have a look at their website to have a look at their Press Twins.
Ellis Clark are not the only model shop to be announcing new models. The Model Centre has also just announced that they will be producing a sixth-wheeled BRBZ van. These six-wheeled vans entered service in 1950, with 80 built to the LNER diagram of 358 under British Railways. They'll be working with EFE Rail, with the models expected to be delivered in early 2026. Prices are starting at £47.95, 2 or more vehicles will cost £93.95, 3 or more vehicles £136.95. There's various liveries, including lime crimson with running number 70666, other running number Echo 70702 Echo. There's also BR Maroon, if I get my words out right, Echo 70715 Echo. Also in BR Maroon is Echo 70700 Echo. In limed maroon, Echo 70654 Echo. Also in BR Blue 70689, further BR Blue 70678 Echo, and 70709 also in BR Blue. So to order these vans, you'll have to go to the TMC, online, in store, or by telephone.
Right then, that's the news covered for this week. What are we doing this week? We've done so many podcast recordings this week, I can't keep up with who we're talking to and about what.
So we have got Hylton from Proper Chuffed. But before we go into that, a few weeks ago, you may remember we had Danny and Southwest Max, so Danny from Various Multiple Units, on the show. And we mentioned that his 4 VEPs were going to auction. Now, I wanted to just sort of raise an awareness of how amazing these did at auction. So, James, if you don't mind, I'm just going to quickly run off the spiel of everything about it, if that's okay.
Yes, I will simply sit here and read my copy of Railway Modeler.
Excellent. So amazing job by Danny on these. So the first unit, the first one that went up, so 2 of them went up on eBay. The first one went for £2,500, and the second one went for £1,500. So that's incredible. So effectively managed to raise £4,000 to go towards.
I can hear the cogs ticking there.
I stumbled on my words. So effectively, they have raised £4,000 for Gordon Pettit, which is incredible. So a massive well done to Danny for that one. So the third one, because there are 3 versions of it, there have been several ideas and plans for it. And speaking to Danny minutes ago, I can not confirm what they're doing with the third one, but we will keep you posted. So Danny's had ideas on how to try and raise money for this, and there's been a lot of ideas, including I think a raffle ticket option was something we wanted to look at, but it's trying to work out something that is fair for everyone so that people online can buy it and things like that. And there's different ideas that have been put around for it, so we will keep you informed. So if you do want to hopefully get your hands on the third version of this, then hopefully there's something that will be, because I don't have £2,500 and £1,500 to spend on this, not because I don't think Danny's work is not worth it, but simply because I don't have that kind of cash. So we're just waiting for Danny to confirm what's going on with the third one on that one. But yeah, that's where we stand on that. So yes, James, we are off to go and talk with our friend Hylton from, is it Australia? Is that where he's from?
No, he's from South Africa. I should have guessed.
I'm glad it was you who did that one this time and not me. Perfect. Should we go and have a word with Hylton?
I won't say no, you can't in the South African accent. It's stealing a joke from Alan Partridge, and it's a rude word.
Okay, good, because I've already got enough editing to do for our end.
I'm annoyed in this interview because he mentions that well, obviously because I'm from South Africa, and I could not remember the line from Partridge where I think he says, "What part of Birmingham are you from?" And then he goes, "I'm from South Africa." I should have guessed. And I missed that opportunity, and I've been kicking myself for a week. I had it in my hands, and I let's let it slip away. Anyway, let's go talk to Hylton. It's good chat. It's not full of Alan Partridge quotes, I promise.
Ooh. That's lovely. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, look at that. That's dirty. That is filthy.
Sir, you can't get that out right now. Not in the middle of a dinner party.
Why not? I want to show it to all of my guests.
I'm afraid it's just not appropriate, sir.
Nonsense, Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, look at that.
I say, has he whipped out his dirty shunter for us all to see? You can get your models weathered by Emperor's Path using just the airbrush for a light dusting, or alternatively, oil paints and airbrush to add that extra depth. Contact Emperor's Path on Instagram at emperors_path, or alternatively, emperorspathcontact@gmail.com. Emperor's Path Weathering. If it's not dirty, let's fix that.
Only Emperor's Path makes it that dirty.
Here we are again then, another interview for this week. And this week we've got someone who claims they have no idea what they're doing, yet they've got 88 videos on YouTube and 4.7k subscribers. So all I can say is welcome to the show, Hylton, aka Proper Chuffed.
Oh, hey guys, how's it going? I have no idea what I'm doing here, but I'm stoked to be here.
Well, we heard you get bullied by Rob on the shunting yard, which is obviously your little podcasty channel, and he was mocking you for not being on here, and we had that. We've got a no bullying policy on this podcast, and so, unless it's bullying Sam, obviously. So yeah, welcome, Hylton. How are you?
Yeah, good and you guys. A bit cold compared to you guys. We're in the middle of winter down here in South Africa, so I'm all layered up, whereas I'm sure you guys are stripping down.
We have been this week, although it's a bit cooler now. As I say, we've had a bit of a hectic week. So timeline-wise, people will listen to things and think it's all spread out. But we spoke to Adam from Rail Stuff on Monday, and I think all three of us were just dying of heat exhaustion by the end of that interview. It was a very hot day, but yeah, it's not so bad today. It's a bit cooler. All the way in wintry South Africa. I bet. Is there snow? Is it that wintry?
You know what? We are actually expecting snow this weekend, which will be the third time in my life I've seen snow in Johannesburg. So looking forward to it.
So yeah. If you're listening, Bono, and the rest of bloody Band-Aid, does snow in Africa. All right, there we are. Got that one covered. Right.
Well, that's taken us a lot less time than usual to get political on the podcast.
I just saw an opportunity and I thought I'd take it. You know what I mean? Right then, Hill, for those that don't know of your channel, of who you are, do you want to give us a little bit of background? How you got into the hobby, what you're doing?
Sure. Right. So I think, like most people, I grew up with Thomas the Tank Engine. I'm kind of that age where Thomas was very relevant in my life, and grew up in a very small town in the north of South Africa called Polokwane. And we had a steam depot nearby, which was obviously still active in the early 90s. We had steam right up until sort of like the mid-90s, I guess. So I was very fortunate to see steam working freight and passenger services all the way up until, I was about 4 or 5 years old. And I think that probably set the fire in me, so to speak. And like most people, fell out of it once I got into my teens. One thing that's always been a very consistent thing in my life has been passions. So it's either been Star Wars, which is just a repeat offender. It comes back every couple of years and I go in hard. But trains I stepped away from trains until about 3 years ago now, when I realized that I had a disposable income and I could afford to buy a train set again. So I picked up a very old, I think it was a 1970s, it was called Midnight Freight. It was a Hornby set, just to see if it was still there. It was I think a class 58, one of the bones. Yeah. And you know what, I had thought about doing YouTube for many years because I always thought I could give it a bang, but I just never had the subject matter to tackle it with. And I thought, well, what's better than, starting a new hobby and YouTube at the same time? So I kind of married the two of them together, and here we are, 2 years into YouTube, and my humble little channel has done, I think, fairly well, especially considering I suppose I'm, the one of the colonial contingents being down in South Africa, and modeling British and Scottish stuff. I've been very impressed by just how welcoming everyone's been to the South African.
Yeah, no, they are. For 2 years, that's impressive. That you're almost at 5,000 followers already. So you must be doing something right. So this claim of not knowing what you're doing, it's got to stop, really, hasn't it?
I
But
think
I like that. I like you started your YouTube journey, and people can follow you and see how you've been progressing. And yeah, I mean, your current project is a West Highland line, and it's a most impressive piece of work that you're working on at the moment, and an enjoyable watch. So definitely one for people to go and look at.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I keep saying I have no idea what I'm doing, because when it comes to model railways, I don't think I do. I am still learning a lot as I go. I have a background in modeling with, I mean, not like strutting the runway, but model aircraft. I did a lot of warbirds growing up. I think I built my first kit when I was about 8 or so. In fact, I still remember it was an Academy Mitsubishi Zero. And I've always dived into that every couple years, and kept up with the painting and that sort of stuff. So I've always had an aspect of modeling in my life, but model railways is a very far stretch for me. But I am absolutely loving it, and I can see why everyone calls it the world's best hobby.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's cool. Yeah, and I mean, model aircraft's pretty sweet as well, and Mitsubishi Zeros are quite a fun one to paint, especially because they have very tatty paint jobs, and the paint never held on those planes, so you can
No.
really weather them. We'll start off with our rounding of questions then. And the first one that we always like to ask is, do you prefer steam, diesel, or electric?
I really did think about this one, because in my heart I want to say steam, but in more recent times I've definitely become a diesel guy. And despite the fact that the channel's called Proper Chuffed, I think you probably see more diesels on my little fictitious West Highland layout than anything else now, because I just feel like they're more appropriate. There's something about particularly fast 37s. I have a serious problem with them. The collection is growing.
You said there was a lot of diesels on your layout, but all I recall is 37s.
It's pretty much 37s. One or two 26s, and Sam's definitely helped me see the light with some 33s, although I don't think they made it to Scotland in their sort of working life. But yeah, 37s are the real problem more than anything else. Recently found a great interest in DMUs as well. So while steam is there, I'd have to say diesel.
That's cool. So what brought you to the West Highlands? What made that choice? Because obviously, you've grown up in South Africa, and I suppose there's not that influence of your local area to, such like Sam does his third rail. I have an influence of, I didn't grow up in the Western region, but I do like Western stuff because I work on it now. So what brought you to the West Highlands?
I suppose there's a bit of a story there, but in essence, if I could, I would model South African. However, unfortunately, and I think this is what most people, I get this question quite a lot, because people do realize I'm from South Africa, although some people seem to think my accent just sounds like a very posh Englishman, which is, I don't think it is. But if it came to modeling something first and foremost, I'd probably do South African. But the reality is that the quality of models, we're kind of stuck in the 1970s here in South Africa when it comes to modeling anything South African. So in the sort of late 70s, Lima did a big push into South African markets. So they did a Blue Train, they did a couple of 6Es, a couple of starter sets, and I think they really formed the backbone of what modeling South African was. And unfortunately, to this day, people still run those Lima 6Es and old Blue Train sets, and frankly, they're just not up to scratch. And the the quality of the higher end custom built locos. DJH did a couple of them. There was a Garrett, a 19D, and I think a 25NC. And the quality of the DJH was fantastic, but again, it's a fairly old tooling. So if you wanted to get one of those kits now, you're looking at upwards of £1,000 for a DCC fitted locomotive, or even DCC ready, which is nuts, absolutely nuts. So it just doesn't make South African stuff affordable to me. I'd certainly like to build a South African layout at some point if I could get a loco, but it is a big investment for something that's fairly minimal. And obviously, we run Cape gauge down here. It's not quite, the standard gauge or broad gauges from the rest of the world. It's a form of narrow gauge, and the gauging is the other issue because Lima made an HO scale locomotive, but it wasn't the correct gauge. So if you're going to be really nerdy about it, it just doesn't quite fit the bill in terms of scale. So, sorry, James, to answer your question, the reason why I decided to model the West Highlands, or initially the idea was just Scotland, and I drew on my own sort of experience of I visited Scotland 3 times, and been very fortunate to do so. And all 3 times I've been to the West Highlands. My late father was born in Scotland, so it's definitely a family draw in some way. I feel like a bit of a kinship to Scotland, so it seemed like the most natural choice. And obviously, it's arguably the most beautiful in the UK.
Not quite the Cotswolds, but it's almost there. It's almost.
I think you could say that as long as it's not raining, it's definitely one of the most beautiful.
Oh, I'd stood in the rain in Scotland with my hoodie off, just taking it all in. I loved it, but I can understand it gets pretty boring pretty quickly.
I've never been, so I can't venture an opinion on that. The closest I've got is Edinburgh. So, but what I look at in books and photos, it does look absolutely spectacular there. And it's my to-do list. We did look at doing it this year, but it's a case of entertaining the children whilst getting them to Scotland, and what way would be the easiest way. And we concluded that there wasn't one this year, so we go another direction instead.
James, the Hogwarts Express ? Is that not a pull?
No.
No, not really. No.
No, the eldest, she's gone through a Harry Potter phase. She still kind of likes Harry Potter, but I don't think she's that bothered. And the boy's got a Titanic phase at the moment, so he's not even interested in trains at the moment. So yeah, he's gone maritime on me. So yeah, no appeal there, no Harry Potter appeal at all. There we are. So.
It's all about Lord Horatio Nelson.
Just to clarify, he is a Pompey boy, so I completely think that that's absolutely acceptable.
What, Harry Potter?
No, Lord Horatio Nelson.
Harry grew up in
Same.
Same person. Absolutely the same person. Wow, we're touching all the different subjects this week. See, this is what happens when we get the Southern Hemisphere people on. Things get wild.
We haven't been international for a while, have we, since Mitch? So, right then, Hylton. We'll move on to the next question and ask you, what's your favourite scale?
I don't think I can really comment other than 00, because unfortunately I've never been able to explore anything else. Although I think like so many people, toying with the idea of an O gauge, like little shunting layout at some point. But yeah, it would be 00. I think in hindsight, had I started this hobby this year, I'd probably be entering and looking at TT I'd be very interested in it if I was to start again. But obviously the loco selection in 00 makes it, a no-brainer in many respects.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes it king, doesn't it? It's pretty much got you sorted for whatever you like, hasn't it? It's sure TT will catch up eventually. Just needs a little more time. It's cool.
We're going to be really old by the time TT catches up with a decent selection.
That's why I moved my boy onto it. You see, it's like, well, by the time you're an adult, you might be able to.
It's actually smart.
It's a really nice scale, isn't it? We've moved to it because OO is too big for the bedroom. N gauge is too small, and the locos kept breaking. They're too. My eyesight's going. I can't fix them anymore, and he's too young himself to pick up those skills to fix his own locos at the moment. So TT seemed the right compromise. It's good size for his bedroom, and the models. I think if they do get damaged, I can fix them. So everyone's a winner.
And marvelous detail too.
They are.
I'm
They're
staggered
good.
at just how good looking TT is. It's really impressive.
Yeah, the 66s I think are incredible. I think they're on par with the Akira scale ones, or the X-Saturn ones. I'm sure the backward ones will trump them all, which we'll see. But yeah,
For a price.
it's always the way, always the way. Cool. Right. So, OO gauge, your favourite scale. Now, I'm going to assume it's a 37. Is there a favourite loco that you own?
Oh, you read me well. I don't know what gave that away. So I actually put down two because I feel like, again, my heart is so torn. But it's either recently I picked up 37409 Loch Or from Rainbow, which is the custom sort of ScotRail, sort of retro ScotRail livery that they did. And I've got a little bit of an obsession with collecting all the Loch named 37s. And Loch Or was certainly one of them that was missing from the collection. So it's that, or if I may, Rapido's Highland Railway Jones goods, because that is just an amazing piece of kit.
Yeah, I can see why you picked the Jones goods. Does look incredible. I know on today recording rails were like we found a few more and there's some yellow ones and some green ones left. And I was like, no, I don't need one. I don't need one. I don't need one. But they do. They look amazing. I mean, the yellow looks spectacular.
Yeah, I got the yellow, and I think what blew me away even more than just the paintwork, which is immaculate and super fine, especially the banding on the wheels and on the splashes and stuff. But the sound profiles, absolutely beautiful. It is one of those engines. I know you guys were talking about DCC sound a couple of weeks ago, but it is one of those engines that you can happily just let it sit in a siding and tinker away and have the coal being shoveled into the firebox. And it honestly sounds like it's doing its own thing and it's living its own life. And I'm so happy for it.
Well, see, that's fine. I'm fine with that with a steam engine. It's the diesels that, as I say, I'll go out and I'll see a diesel in real life, and a 37 going by is just stunning to hear. But when when you're in your little room and it's just going round in circles, it's just shut up. But
it is very, very draining. Yeah.
But yeah, your 37409, I mean that looks fabulous. It's absolutely gorgeous livery that it got painted into. And I have managed to go out and get some footage of it when it came back from Eastleigh and went past this way. Yeah, having a model of it must be great.
Yeah, it's the thing is, Rainbow, I was a little bit cautious making the purchase, but Rainbow really have done a spectacular job on that paintwork. It's right up there with a factory finish as far as I'm concerned.
That's cool. I thought you were going to say you were cautious because you know that any minute a Curacao are going to announce one.
I'm always terrified of that.
It's always the way. You know they will. Yeah, you know what they're like, and they like to surprise us as well. There's never any pattern to them. They'll just randomly announce a load of 37s in whatever week they decide. And
I sincerely hope they don't, though, because James, I think I've got 4 on pre-order for the end of the year, so I cannot afford another one.
You can. They've got a payment scheme that you just pay it off. You see, so it makes it all very affordable.
I don't think that applies to South Africans.
Oh, cool. So yeah, I suppose that is quite a higher number of pre-orders to be waiting for. You probably don't want them to announce anymore, but I'm sure they will.
Yeah, that's the other thing. We got this whole wedding looming, and I'm juggling. Like, I've cancelled a few pre-orders this year, so I'm doing my best.
But I heard they were on her wedding wish list for presents. That 37 that you cancelled.
No idea how they got there.
Yeah, I'm sure she said it was on the guest list, the wedding present list. So, if we're talking about ones that you don't own, then and cancelling pre-orders, etc., is there something out there that you would like to add to the collection, whether it be in existence or something you'd hope to see in existence?
I feel like I'm just really breaking MERP with my answers because I'm giving you 2 of everything. The first is probably my favorite locomotive ever, and that's a GMAM Garrett. They are the monsters of the Garretts, as far as I'm concerned. And the South African versions were particularly cool, in my opinion. They actually used to have a little propeller on the front of the coal bunker that used to spin as it picked up speed, which I just thought was always so cool. But I'd love a proper newly tooled GMAM Garrett, but unfortunately the market I don't think is big enough for something like that. Realistically, we could expect maybe a NG G16 at some point from maybe Bachmann. I'd love that. That would be absolutely amazing. But if I had to choose a 00 model, and I'm sorry, guys, I know I've given you like now 3, but I'd love it if we could get a K4. That would be, I think, for me as somebody who's modeling the West Highlands, a K4 like the Great Marquess would be the cherry on top of a West Highland layout.
Yeah, do you know what? It's surprising that locomotive has never come into existence for the
Right?
ready to run market, isn't it? It's like you say, there's still one of it. It's still one in preservation. It's still running around. I think it's been on rail tours for the 80s. I'm sure I've seen photos of them. Yeah, there's nothing, and it's very odd. I'm not sure.
It is the guy who bought Union of South Africa, I believe, and mothballed it, picked up the Great Marquess as well, and also mothballed it. So, they're both there preserved, which is fantastic, obviously. But it's something that I figured Hornby would have done by now, at least, or Bachmann, I suppose. Any one of them could really tackle it. Anyone. I'd just love to see it because I think it's quite iconic for the West Highland line.
Yeah, it's a smart looking loco as well, and it's not that dissimilar to the B1. You'd think it'd sort of be a sort of similar seller to that. Maybe the scope and range of where they ran maybe puts manufacturers off, but I think looking at photos of it now, I think it looks splendid. Even its BR black livery. It's a really lovely looking loco. But yeah, I can totally understand why you'd want that. I reckon Hornby should do it in TT 120 just to be a curveball, yeah, because that'll fit my West plans.
Yeah, I'm loving this idea that you're stepping into the West Highlands, James. It's very exciting. I can't wait to see it come to life.
Well, yeah, we'll see on this because I've got to wait for the 37 to show up first, and then I've got Lord knows how many other projects to do, but it's planned. it's yeah. I've had this conversation with Sam. I may have had this on the podcast, but I've sort of worked out that I probably should just do small layout projects because I changed my mind so much that I can then set them aside rather than ripping down an entire big layout because I've decided that this week I'm going to do the Great Central Railway. So, but we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. So the Garrett, the GMA Garrett, I think that is a great call. Yeah, I don't know how popular railway modelling is in South Africa to say if it would be a good investment for a manufacturer or not. But I mean, they look epic.
They are. They truly are. They're proper giants, and they come in a variety of really cool different liveries. I always like the thing with South African locos is they look like a perfect marriage between British and American design in many ways because most of them were built by North British. And shipped over here or designed here and then built overseas and brought back. But they've also got that American element. So you've got like a British boiler shape, cab shape. I wouldn't say maybe tender. The tender seems to lean a little bit more towards an American style. But you've also got a lamp on the top and cow catchers, or as I don't know. Apparently there's another term for cow catchers. I've always called them cow catchers. But it's kind of like a perfect marriage between the two. And I think anyone in Australia who would probably feel the same way. Both of our Australia, South Africa, and New Zealand all seem to have a very similar sort of design style, obviously because our locos were manufactured by much the same people. But the Garrett just has so much presence. I've stood next to a couple of them. I've never seen one working. We do have one operating somewhere. in the country, but they are monsters. And I think the thing is with South African engines is I had recently been to the UK and I came back and I was standing next to a 15F, and having just seen the 9F in the UK compared to a South African 15F, I mean, South African engines are enormous. So a Garrett is something I'd love to see done. But again, yeah, as you say, I don't think it's worth the investment. I'm sure there are a couple of people who would buy, but much less so here in South Africa. We're all very poor.
No, it's fair enough. Yeah, I think you're right. I think your best bet is probably a narrow gauge Garrett from Bachmann at some point. As they have a habit of liking the Thirsteniog and West Highland stuff. So you never know. Will that tempt you over to 009? Do you think, if such a engine came into existence?
Absolutely, but I would almost immediately respray it and turn it into a South African variant with the South African livery.
Yeah,
I think we had a lot of sugarcane trains that ran down in KwaZulu-Natal, which is southern point of South Africa, and I'd love to do some like sugarcane trains, a diorama with something like that would be absolutely amazing. Well, I really do appreciate the Welsh stuff. A big part of me that feels like you guys just stole all of our G16s. So I'd definitely turn it into a South African version.
Yeah, you've seen the British Museum. You know how it works. We go round. and
we take your stuff.
We liberate and preserve stuff to make sure that the rest of you don't wreck it. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, you guys are like the dads of the world.
That's it. Yeah, we're looking it away. All right, you can look at it, but you can't have it back. All right. So then, Hylton, you've been working on your West Highland line, and it's looking very impressive. Is there a project that you've worked on so far that you are particularly pleased of?
There's actually quite a few on this one, because I think my first one, I thought I was doing a pretty good job, and I think there's a couple of people that would say that, hey, it looked good, but this one has been a real test of patience, because I think I, like many people, get to Scenics and I start like rushing through stuff because you start seeing the vision, right? But in particular on Dunroman version 2, I think I've been really, really happy with the rock work. I really wanted to kind of replicate the sort of sheer blasted cliffs that you would see closer to Mallaig on the West Highland line. That was the intention anyways. So when it came to doing those, I had done rocks previously and they weren't fantastic, but these ones I felt came out really nicely. And then also the heather, I had a great time with, just kind of referencing different images and replicating them in the model form. I think it proved a really fun challenge for me. So the entirety of Dunroman version 2, as I call it, Chasing the Unicorn, has been a joy to put together. So I suppose that as a project is probably my favorite so far, but I've got so many in my head that I want to do in the future.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I think your rock work looks fantastic on there. I think you've nailed it, to be honest, the effect you were trying to go for. And yeah, I think it works really well. I think the other thing that's very impressive on your layout is that back scene.
Yeah, I cannot take any credit for that. That was all my sister's doing, and she is incredibly talented artist. In fact, a couple of people have reached out and been like, "Hey, can I get a back scene?" I'm like, "You have no idea how long that took." I don't think we could manufacture and sell them per se, but yes, it's a stunning piece, and I think it's one of those things with model railways that can make or break a scene, or a layout rather, is your back scene. I think some people pull off really simplistic back scenes that are just fantastic because they give you that sense of openness, whereas with Dunroman's one, I really wanted to replicate the sort of dreary, almost dark look of the average West Highland day. So, very gray clouds. I like that moody sort of atmosphere, where it's almost teetering on the verge of a downpour. And I think she replicated that really, really well. It's all oil, and it took her about 4 months to put together. So very grateful for it.
It is beautiful, and it really does capture the atmosphere of Scotland. I think, like you say, the grey skies, which is nice to see because it's so common for modelers to just have that lovely blue sky because we all like to live in a rose tinted world when we're modeling. But yeah, when you decide actually, do you know what? It always rains here. I'm going to have clouds in the sky. That adds to the realism. I think. I think it makes a layout more effective. And I think if you when you frame it right, it presents the mood in the way that you want it to be as well. And that seems quite apparent on your layout, and particularly with that beautiful back scene that's painted there. No chance of turning it into a print then, and people having it that way. I take it.
I think we'd love to do something in the sense of like, I think it would be great to have her art shared in that respect, but the logistics of putting something together like that is probably a bit more difficult than it seems. I think it's the whole scanning of scanning of paintings, and we'll explore it at some point, definitely though.
That's cool. So maybe for those that are after, or otherwise deep pockets for a special commission, I suppose.
Very deep pockets. It's shipping too, James. So
it's a gift. Let's move on to shopping and asking you what is because you mentioned you got 4 on pre-order. So what is your next hobby purchase?
Weirdly enough, it's not a 37. Although I do need to start sort of actually paying for them. So Curious Girl, if you're listening, please don't like get rid of them or anything. But my next hobby purchase will be Hylton's Class 104 DMU, the Mexican bean variant.
Oh, yeah.
That I am particularly excited about because it's such a unique bit of livery on the 104. And, I think it has the West Highlands written on the side of it. It's got a little Scotty dog, a Westie. And I think that livery is really unique and it really pops on that DMU. So quite excited about that and preparing my wallet for the inevitable arrival.
Yeah, no, that's cool. No, I like that one. Yeah, he's quite a fun livery on it, isn't it? And I think it was introduced in about May 1985 and sort of to promote the line. And I think that'll definitely sort of set the scene for what you're modeling there. So looking forward to seeing that on the layout. As you say, you probably will need to save a few pennies because DMUs they're not cheap these days, are they?
No, they're not. And I think one of the other things with Hylton's 00 stuff is that very often they don't come with the option of a sound fitted version, which means that already at £330, I think is the pre-order price, you still have to add sound to it on top of that, which probably takes it closer to £450, I guess. It's not a cheap purchase for her 2-car DMU.
No, that's very true, but I'm sure it'd be worth it. Of course, you could wait until Hornby produce it in TT120 to go with the K4 for the high range that I'm going to start battering for. So it's all about me. What I. So yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. No, I look forward to seeing it on your layout. Right. Well, let's have a look then, and we'll move on and asking you, what is your favourite part of the hobby? So, what do you enjoy the most?
I was gonna say exactly what Danny said and be like the friends, but I'm gonna lean into my community. I think more than anything else, because I think being sort of separated as I am so far away down here in South Africa, there's definitely not a lot of 00 modelers that I know on a personal level as friends or anything like that. There are a couple, I think, dotted around the country, but certainly no one I've met that does it like the way I'm doing it. So the YouTube aspects, the community that I've built on through my channel, everyone is fantastic. There are some really, it's always one of those things with YouTube. I've always kind of said in my YouTube description, just be kind, because I'm so acutely aware of how nasty of a place YouTube can be. But I have genuinely found that 99% of people who come to visit my channel and are regular viewers are just the nicest people and have the best advice for improving my own hobby skills, as well as sharing it with the rest of the community. So the community has been a huge part for me, and through it I've been able to develop some really great friendships. I went to the UK last year and I met 00 Dave, which was awesome, because I think I'm probably the only YouTuber who actually knows what 00 Dave looks like, but he really is as funny as he is in his videos in person. We had a couple of beers and he was genuinely one of the most awesome people I've met so far through the community. But yeah, in a nutshell, I think my Model Railway Club is my YouTube channel. I think I've said it a few times, and it's an awesome place to visit every day.
Yeah, I think we forget about that when we're over here. If because you're in the UK, you talk to other UK modelers and you just assume they're in the UK. And we've all, like you said, we all said that it's nice of this community spirit that we've built up through social media that wasn't there once upon a time, and it's made the hobby a lot more interactive, a lot more together. But yeah, for the likes of yourself, as you say, you're in a part of the world where there isn't many other people. So I suppose that is a real added bonus to be able to interact and talk to people that otherwise you'd be isolated from.
Absolutely. And I think YouTube is, one of your questions I know a little bit later is about, your favorite exhibition. To be honest with you, I can't give you one because I've never been to an exhibition. I went to, actually, I was driving through Inverness on a Sunday. We were on our way to the Isle of Skye, and I saw it at the Inverness Hotel. There was a model railway show, and Annie and I popped in and we paid our £5 and walked around. It was really cool to actually just see people modeling 00 on that level that I'd always seen on YouTube, if you know what I mean. But YouTube is my exhibition. I watch all the show videos. By the way, James, yours are fantastic. Always enjoy the narration. I think that adds another level of depth to it. So, keep up the good work, man. But yeah, it's a very disconnected thing. I don't have people I can talk to face about it. So YouTube is the extension of that, and I'm very grateful for that connectedness in the 21st century.
That's cool. And thank you very much for complimenting my own channel. And you're absolutely right. It is the only channel to go to for your exhibition videos that are in the southeast of the country. I can't cover the northern spots. I don't make enough money on YouTube to be able to quit my job and just go around filming exhibitions every weekend. That'd be great if I could, but I'm not quite there yet. But yeah, no, I think it's great that it manages to bring you together and bring us all together. And it's definitely, I think, makes the hobby more accessible. I think not only to people like yourself that don't live in this country, but those that are unsure about it or not sure about getting into it. And I think it maybe attracts the younger generations that way as well. And so yeah, I think that's pretty good. If you were to create a new layout, then, and I'm not saying rip up your West Island one, all right, let's keep that in place for now. But you've got another room maybe that you found on the side of your house. You didn't know it was there. You can put another layout in there. What is the one thing that you need on it? What would you want to have on that layout?
So in the experience of building the two layouts that I've only done so far, the one thing that I've realized that I really, really enjoy is elevation between track levels, whether that's small or fairly big like it is on my new one. I love that the illusion of sort of depth that elevation creates, and I think it's one of the one of those dark arts of model railways is the perception of depth. More than I've spoken about it so much recently in a couple of my videos, but creating the perception of depth matters so much, because as a viewer or the controller, you're always kind of standing and seeing it in an, I wouldn't say 2D kind of way, but it almost does feel like 2D, right? Because you're so close to it that it feels quite flat and close. But elevation in my opinion, really does change the dynamics of a model railway. While I can really appreciate a dockside shunting layout where, you've got lots of points and locos are switching up and down, and there's a lot of technicality there. When you're trying to create a sense of space, I think elevation does a really, really good job. So if you've got the space and you can afford to do it, that would be one thing that I'd probably always want to include in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think you're right there, because it's, when you think about it, when you most experience of seeing the railway is usually, well, for me, when you're passing in a car and you're going under a bridge and the trains go over the top. I have a lot of memories of catching and seeing trains that pass over, and I think you're right that when it's elevated and it's a little bit higher and it's not just a flat world, it really does bring it to life, and it does make it feel like it's been built into the landscape rather than the landscape built around it. So yeah, I totally get that. With the elevation as well, are you a fan of double deck layouts, having your one baseboard and then climbing up to the next baseboard, or is it just you prefer to have the railway lifted in the scene?
I'm somewhat limited by my own space. I think if I could, I'd certainly do a double deck. I am in a sort of position where I'm renting where I stay right now. So as much as I'd love to punch a hole through the wall and have a helix running up to a second level, it's just not quite feasible. But I can tell you that I'm planning to build Tomna Fair Depot on top of Dunroman as its own sort of separate shunting layout at some point. So that's the Fort William Depot, and I'd love it in a perfect world if I could have locos leave the depot and then helix down onto Dunroman, but there's no space for it. So yeah.
Cool. You could try a lift. I saw a layout in, I think it's probably Model Rail about 2006. It was based in East Anglia, and it was a double deck layout. But to get around that problem, he built a train lift basically. I think it held a loco and a couple of wagons. It was O gauge as well, I think, or S scale.
Wow.
And yeah, he just got his little lift to. So maybe you could do it, because if you're just running a loco off the depot, I bet you could have a little lift, put them up and down. That might be the solution.
Absolutely. Not something I thought of. So it's a good shout, James.
Don't thank me. Thank the guy that was in Model Rail in nearly 90 years ago. I'll have to dig the name out. I've got a copy of it just by the side of me, but I'll try and find it. But it's a lovely layout. It's cool, yeah. Elevation for the layout. That sounds like a great idea. I think a great shout, really, for anyone planning a layout. Get your track off the ground. It's a great call. Next thing I'm going to ask you then is, what is the one hobby item you'd encourage everyone to buy?
I really did think about this for quite some time, but I came back to the same thing every single time, and it's firm grip hairspray, because I think it has been a lifesaver in terms of money for me. Instead of buying scenic spray, which is usually 3 to 4 times the price of hairspray, firm grip hairspray has done wonders for my scenic work, and it's also made this room smell absolutely amazing while I'm working in it, as long as I don't spray too much, because then I do end up in a bit of a fit of coughing. But firm grip hairspray, whether it's the little like squeegee spray on type or the aerosol format, both work wonders when it comes to putting down extra layers of static grass on top of the original ones that you've put down, or whether it's like flocking a tree or putting some bushes together. Firm grip hairspray is a godsend.
I think that's a good. So is that at the cheaper end of the hairspray market, or is that the more expensive end of the hairspray market?
I mean, I suppose there is. I wouldn't really know. I'm not a big hairspray shopper, but the one I pick up is, I think it probably costs me about £2 for a can. And I think that's not bad, right?
No, that's not too bad at all. No, it's I think I would put it at the lower price, because I have read other people who also recommend the hairspray. It always seems to be a case of arguing that the cheaper hairspray is the better hairspray for the for doing your modeling. I don't know why that is.
I agree. I think it comes across as like it's a lot more tacky and sticky than perhaps the high end ones, which I think aim to create a sort of flawless effect on your hair.
Yeah.
But now we're talking about stuff that I don't really know about. So
Yeah, I do use a hairspray for my own hair, so that seems I find that dries very quick. But yeah, maybe that's what it is. The cheaper stuff does seem to stay wet a little bit longer, so maybe that's why it's better to use a cheaper one. Cheap hairspray layout, and nice decent hairspray for your own hair. You got to look after yourself. You got to make sure you look good. Make sure you use deodorant as well, people, and have a little wash every now and then. Just saying. You don't go to
especially
exhibitions.
before an exhibition.
You don't know this. You don't know the perils of going to exhibitions, but not everybody follows those hygiene rules. Let's just put it that way.
I've attended a few Comic Cons in my time, so I can imagine.
Then you know exactly what we're talking about.
Very similar, yeah.
Come on, people! If you can pay £200 for a low coat, you can pay £1 or £2 for a bottle of Lynx soap. It's come on. We can better ourselves.
Let's put the grate back into Lynx Africa.
I never stopped using it. It's not a teenage spray. It's a 40-year-old man spray. It's vanilla.
It used to be called. It used to be called Lynx here in South Africa, and then they changed it to Axe.
Yeah. It's basically Axe everywhere else. It's Lynx here still.
They've given up trying to change names for the British market after they changed Opal Fruits to Starburst. The riots that it caused, they realised it wasn't worth it. They had one more go by changing Sif to Jif or Jif to Sif, whatever way around that went. That didn't go down too well either. People still talk about how Snickers was called Marathon. They haven't let that one go. And so really the marketing realised that there was absolutely no point rebranding anything for the British market. They will never forget the old name. And
Snickers was called what?
Marathon.
That sounds like something that you take for a chronic pain or something. I don't know.
You do, yeah. You're feeling a bit down in the dumps. Have a Snickers, that'll perk you up. You're feeling a bit hungry.
Marathon.
A marathon. Yeah, have a marathon. That's what they called them.
Do you know what I don't need when I'm feeling down? A marathon. Marathon does not fill me with joy. It just reminds me of Paula Radcliffe. That's literally all it does.
Oh, yeah. Marathon, like a running marathon?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said marathon, like MARAFIN.
Marathon.
Like, wow, that sounds very chemical.
It was the 80s low sugar version they tried promoting. They stuck a load of Candy in it. It didn't sell very well. It's and thus the rebranding to Snickers to get everyone to forget about the marathon. That's
makes sense.
True story. There we are. We've covered most things tonight. We've managed to avoid the Star Wars talk. It's probably because we did it beforehand. Come on, but
wait, James, hang on. I think there's an important question because I'm sure there's a lot of people who listen to the podcast who really, really like Star Wars, and they've probably never heard your answer to this question. But what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
There's The Empire Strikes Back, obviously.
Oh, what a lad! What a lad!
There's no other answer. Right. Maybe if you're of a slightly younger age to me, Revenge of the Sith could be the correct answer, and I'm accepting of that. But
sure.
It's Empire Strikes Back.
It is always Empire. I completely agree with you. Great. All right.
So we could just list what order we prefer them all in, but
well, we could.
We both know the three Disney ones are going to be at the bottom.
Absolutely. Although, out of pure interest, where does Rogue One sit for you?
Oh, well, now, have you watched it after watching Andor?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, does that film feel completely different to you now?
Absolutely, yes. I think.
Did it make it better
personally?
For you? Worse though.
Better, even better.
Yeah,
I firmly had Rogue One when it came out in cinemas as already one of my top Star Wars movies, just because I felt like it really expanded the rebellion and the Empire in a really fantastic way. It made the Empire feel much bigger and more threatening than it ever had, even in the original movies. And I thought that was a good thing, that it was building on the Empire. But Andor obviously just amplified that even more. So Rogue One is right up there with some of my top Star Wars films, and so is Andor, honestly, because I think they're both the only two really good things that have come from Disney. And I know you were talking about it a couple of weeks ago in the podcast, that Star Wars fans are probably the most toxic of the lot, and I couldn't agree with you more, because I think that there's so much infighting, and I largely blame Disney for that. And as such, I've also become much quieter about Star Wars with people, because it generally does bring up some kind of conflict. But glad you feel the same way.
Yeah, no, exactly the same. Yeah, I tell you why Andor is such. Sorry, Rogue One is such a great film. It's because the treatment was written by George Lucas. It was based on the opening crawl of Episode 4. Therefore, it was a George Lucas idea for a film, and that's why it works. Just imagine what the other three would have been if they actually used his treatments. Just saying.
Absolutely. No,
So
you
I
make a
think
very
that's
good
worked
point.
quite well to cover us there for the fact that you haven't been to any exhibitions, and we've covered that. Cool. So you said you had been to the one exhibition when you were visiting Scotland, but otherwise you watch everything else on YouTube. Is there any shows that stick in your mind on YouTube, or any layouts that you've seen? I mean, layouts you probably ones you've seen in real life as well, I suppose. But is there any particular favourites of the both?
So in terms of shows, I think the one I would love to go to, because I haven't been to any, is probably Model Rail Scotland, for obvious reasons. I think that would be my first port of call if I had the opportunity to go to one. And then in terms of layouts, there's one that, I've been trying to find the video of it. It was a very simple end-to-end West Highland layout that was sort of set in Rannoch Moor, just in an open stretch of land. And it just was a DMU or a 66 with some Illumina wagons passing every now and then, but it was very deserted and open. Anyways, I can't find the name. If somebody remembers, please drop me a message or something, because I'd love to know. But the other one that I absolutely love as a layout is Telendalach in Autumn. It's a very small little layout. It's based around a little distillery somewhere in Scotland, and it is just packed with detail, loads of trees, and I think that's one of the things that I absolutely love about it. It really captures the depth of a forest quite well, and the colors are fantastic too. Autumn was something I tried to replicate on my first layout, and I feel like I jumped too far ahead. It was a bit too ambitious with the colors. But I think Autumn, the yellows, the oranges and browns, Scotland are fantastic. And while I've done a summer layout this time around, Telendalach in Autumn looks absolutely superb. So check it out if you can.
Yeah, that is an absolutely wonderful layout. It's a Steam era layout, isn't it? And I think off the top of my head, and I could be wrong, I think Joseph has a video that model railway guy Joseph has a video of that layout. He's done like a 5-10 minute video of just filming it. People are looking for it. Go to his channel and have a look there. I'm sure he's got one there. I know I've got it on one of my exhibition videos, but I can't remember which video. So you'd have to watch through them all to find it. It would have been in the last year, I think. Probably last year's Birmingham NEC show in November. But then I've just remembered I didn't make a video for that, so wouldn't be on.
Oh well, just watch them all.
Always go to that one, and I record, and I come home and I'm like, that's a long day. I cannot be bothered to be sat up until 2, 3 in the morning doing voiceover. So someone else can do the video for this one. So we touched on this earlier. We'll just ask you again, really, and I'm sure your answer will still be the same. But what is your favourite resource when it comes to modelling?
So it is and it isn't, because yes, YouTube I think plays a huge aspect in my own enjoyment of the hobby. But I think my favorite resource when it comes to modeling is definitely Flickr. Flickr has been a lifesaver, because previously just Googling images of like the West Highlands, you get a lot, but you get a lot of the Glenfinnan Viaduct, like a lot. a lot of Harry Potter stuff. And the sort of recent discovery, I think it was actually Sam, I think you mentioned it on a recent podcast, Flickr, and I opened it up, created an account, and I was just blown away at the sheer amount of reference that I could pull from. So Flickr has been a lifesaver in putting together this current layout, and I have no doubt I'll be using it a lot more in the future.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When I decided I'm going to do it West Highland Line, and I went to Flickr, and because it's really hard, isn't it, to like you say, when you try and Google images of the West Highland Line, you get some things like you say the Glenfinnan Viaduct and that, but it's really limited in what is out there. And as soon as you go onto Flickr, the amount of photos that you find of various different spots with different traction workings, all these other little bits you didn't really think of. It didn't even cross my mind that part of the line goes over a canal at one point. It was just Scotland. It's just full of locks, right? But so you have canals up there as well, and so I'm thinking, well, maybe I could incorporate a canal on my build. Maybe that would work. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Flickr is particularly for this subject matter is fantastic.
And it's those little details that you're able to pick up with Flickr, because sometimes there are, what somebody would probably consider a bad photograph of a train or a locomotive, but it's the small little, details like the color of the ballast. That was one thing that took me forever to get right. And or just small signs or tiny little details that I certainly see myself adding in the future. Flickr has got all of that stuff. It's not the broad strokes, it's not these beautiful landscape shots, it's the nitty gritty awful shots that actually end up being the ones that save the day.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's nice just to get the various photos, because like anything can be important and helpful and useful. It's kind of like when you want to model steam era and you try and look at goods trains and you realize that obviously film was very expensive back then, and we didn't no digital cameras just randomly snapped the wagons as they went by. Whenever you try photos of goods trains, what's on the back of them is almost impossible to try and work out, isn't it? And how they sort of run. And so yeah, when you have got a resource like that, I think it really is helpful to help you get those finer details. That's us wrapped up for today. Hylton, thank you very much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. If people want to find you in the internet world, how can they?
Well, first of all, thanks, guys. I really appreciate both of you for having me on. It's really a huge honor. But I can be found on Proper Chuffed on YouTube and Proper Chuffed on Instagram. It's not hard to spell, so I won't do that.
I'm sure someone will still get it wrong. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, Hylton. It's been wonderful talking to you, and thank you very much for giving up your time and coming on to the podcast. Right then, me and Sam are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have Call Attention Corner.
You there? Oh, me? Do you like model railways? Yes, that's why I'm listening to the Model Rail Replacement podcast. Do you like comedy? No, that's why I'm listening to the Model Rail Replacement podcast. If you like model railways and comedy, head over to BugglesKellyStation.com. From Dad's Army to Will Hay, Laurel and Hardy to the island of Sodor. Add a comedy cameo to your model railway today. All right, thanks. Buggles Kelly Station. You won't be wasting your time.
Well, it was a splendid old chat with Hylton there, I thought, and looking forward to seeing more of his Scottish Highlands as he progresses on that layout. Right then, Sam, I've got a bit of bad news, I'm afraid.
No, what's wrong?
Well, the old painters turned up the other day and started painting the signal box, and you know what that means when you're on the railway? That means your box is going to close. So the notice has been given by management, and Call Attention Corner will be shut down due to lack of traffic. So yeah, that's the end of that, I'm afraid. I'd say we could go back to chatting about YouTube channels, but the algorithm of YouTube is absolutely awful, to say the least.
Yeah, it's
It's
pretty
either
bad.
that or no one's making videos about trains on YouTube anymore because I can't find anything.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with it at the moment. It's not showing me the stuff that I do subscribe to. I'm having to really dig deep to find the stuff that I subscribe to, and then when I click on it, it says that I am subscribed, but it's not showing me the video of my subscription. Anyway, it's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, I've just watched a lot of Crook Street over and over. All it plays gets into that loop, and that's it. Just stuck in it, and it's like, oh, you like that video? Here's another one. Here's another. I've watched these. Yeah, I know, but you really liked it, so I'm going to show you it again. So I mean, it's absolutely splendid O gauge modelling of the London North Western Railway. Don't get me wrong, and that great. I think it's a great North Eastern Railway. I think it's a Q8 or Q6. Anyway, in green. Oh, it's a lovely model. Comes on scene. But I've watched that video 3 times now, just because it plays on the telly in the background, and I'll just look at this. So yeah, there we are. Do you know what? Do you know what would be better, right? If instead of watching model railways on the telly on YouTube, if people got down to a model railway exhibition and had a look at real ones there, and if they could get their cameras out and film them and put them on YouTube so I can watch them next week, be most appreciated. And if you want to do that, then there's only one way to really do it. Let's open up the exhibition diary. Right then, for the weekend of Saturday the 19th and 20th of July, we've got the following. Gauge 1 Yorkshire Group, Gauge 1 North, Agricultural Business Centre, Agricultural Way in Bakewell, Derbyshire. That threw me. I was not expecting it to be in Derbyshire if it was the Yorkshire Group.
I mean, it's not that far, but it was a weird one.
I was like, Bakewell's not in Yorkshire. Okay, there you go. That's what's going on there. I'm sure the lads have got it sorted. Gauge 1's quite big. Maybe they had to find a very big area to display it.
It actually starts in Yorkshire but finishes in Derby.
That could be it. Yeah. The Bolton Model Railway Society is having its open day. The usual spot, Bolton Marketplace Shopping Centre, first floor, next door to the H&M at Elsie Street, Bolton, Lancashire. Also, they seem to have it the same weekend. Crawley Signal Box Preservation Society's open day event on the Saturday 19th at the Crawley Signal Box, High Street, Crawley, West Sussex. Merseyside and South West Lancs Narrow Gauge Group is having a group open day at Corpus Christi Church Hall, Alfred Street, and Rainford, Merseyside. Northampton and District Model Railway Club, they always move the date for this one. It's most frustrating, because I can never plan to get the time off work, and I don't think I can make it this year. It's at the Road Village Hall at Bailey Brooks Lane in Road, Northamptonshire. Saturday 19th also sees Southampton Model Railway Society Open Day, Unit 1B, Kemp's Quay. I'm trying to get the word there. It's quay. It's a quay, like you have a harbour. Not a quay. Unit 1B, Kemp's Quay Industrial Park, Quayside Road, Southampton, Hampshire. It all makes sense now. Now it's in Southamptonshire. It's the Quayside. There we go. Felixstowe Area Engage Group Exhibition. Stop staggering at the back. I have dyslexia. The Memorial Hall, High Road, Trimley, St Martin, Suffolk. All weekend, Saturday 19th to Sunday the 20th, Chatham and District Model Railway Club, the Chatham Show. I wouldn't bother that one. I heard someone's weathering there and he's got some layout he couldn't even get out of his loft. So probably be a disappointment. But if you do want to go anyway, Chatham Historic Dockyard at the Main Gate Road in Chatham, Kent. That's your one, isn't it, Sam?
Please come along.
Just make sure that's what I was referencing.
So it is going to be myself. I am going to have the layout on show for the first time. I am going to be weathering and doing weathering whilst you wait. I will be with Danny and Southwest Max. And Danny also has a special guest coming as well. So there's another person. So there's going to be EMUs through the years. So even going pre what Danny builds. So very, very exciting. I'll let Danny announce that one. I don't want to ruin too much. But yeah, Chatham was my favourite show last year, and I can't imagine it's going to be bad at all. There will be some new faces there as well. Adam from Rail Stuff is going to be there. Dave from Bunter's Yard is going to be there, and Dib from Dib Shunting Layout is also going to be there. So some people who I've not worked with before at shows or been at the same show as. So I'm very, very excited for Chatham this year. So come and say hi. I will have podcast and Empress Path stickers on me as well.
That sounds cool. I can't believe Danny's going to keep that secret about Samuel L. Jackson coming along. But anyway, Saturday night.
I'm sorry, but I've just got this image of Samuel Jackson saying, "I need to get these stabilizers off this mother fudging train."
Yeah, they got electric trains in England. Yeah, but they don't call them electric trains. What do they call them? Stabilizer trains. There we are. Right. Before we get sued. Saturday the 19th to Sunday the 20th. Cupar. I don't know. Cupar. Wow, what would you go with? Cupar or Cuppa? Anyway, if you live there, you know what I'm talking about. Cuppa and District Model Railway Club at the Cuppa Model Railway 2025. The Corn Exchange, St Catherine Street in Cuppa, Fife. Apologies to people of Scotland. Saturday 19th, Sunday the 20th. If you were planning to go to the Whitby and District Model Railway Club, then I'm afraid you're going to have to find something else to do. But I mean, the weather's supposed to be glorious, and you live in Whitby, so you could probably just go down to the beach, I'd imagine. That'd be nice, or that might be full of tourists. I don't know. It's lovely there. But there's no model show, it's cancelled. Sorry, folks. Right, Saturday the 19th, Sunday the 20th, DCC Concepts Limited is having their Settle Model Railway Festival 2025. It's their shop, I believe, DCC Concepts, at the sidings in Settle, North Yorkshire. So that would be quite an exciting one to get to if you can get there. Just on the Sunday, of the 20th, Gainsborough Model Railway Society is having a July Open Day at the Gainsborough Model Railway, Florence Terrace, Gainsborough, Lincolnshire. Also on the 20th is the 32A Model Railway Club at Hoverton Model Railway Show at the Hoverton Village Hall in Stolham Road, Hoverton, Norfolk. And that is all for this weekend. Weekend after's looking a bit busy. And then it all dies out, like the school holiday kick in or something. Well, there we are then, Sam. That's another podcast wrapped up. How many we got left now? We've done that, haven't we? We've done it. So we're talking next week, aren't we?
We've got a discussion next week, and then the week after we have got an end of season special featuring some previous guests, which, if I can remember correctly, is an absolute train wreck.
I enjoyed it.
I mean, it's a good train wreck. I mean, we're on a model rail podcast, so actually, me calling it a train wreck is probably actually a good thing.
Going by my YouTube research, people enjoy watching model trains get crashed more than they enjoy watching you build a model railway. Because Lenny watches a fair few train crash model railway channels, and one of them had like 5 million views. So, yeah, a train wreck it is, and I think it's going to be very popular. So, yeah, next week then, I think we're going to talk about sleeper spacing and probably other ways of wasting your time. But for now, I think all we can do is just do our usual, how do you find us? So, Sam, stop hiding. People are looking for you. How are they going to find you?
First of all, you can find me at the Chatham Model Railway Exhibition. Alternatively, you can search me on Instagram at Emperors_Path. You can find me on YouTube at Emperors Path. And if you really want to find me and you don't have any of those other methods, you can find me on Facebook at Emperors Path. James, how can they get hold of you?
I'm Western Signalman on YouTube, Instagram. That's about it. But don't forget that the Model Rail Replacement Podcast is also on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I think that's it. No, we have an email as well. It's modelrailrp@outlook.com if you want to email us about anything. Not anything. I mean, I don't want like random emails of what's your favourite Star Trek character, because I don't really know.
Also, we're saving that kind of thing for the beginning of the next season. Just to clarify, that's why we don't want people to email it to us now. We always do a Q&A. It's the first episode back.
Well, yeah. What's your favourite Star Trek character? Who's your favourite Stormtrooper? Yeah. TK421. Yeah. Gary. There's lots of choices. Those are the only two I know. they're completely very, very opposite end of the spectrum. Stormtroopers as well. As Finn, he's a stormtrooper. We don't tend not to talk about the Disney stuff. Anyway, that's next season. We've still got 2 more this season, so please do come back for more ramblings and talking of model railways. All I can say for now is hopefully we've been entertaining, informative, and replaced your model railway, if only just for a little bit. I've been James, and with me has been Sam. Thanks for listening.
This service terminates here. Please ensure you take all of your personal belongings with you.
Hello, listeners. We've got some very exciting news. Do you want to be part of the podcast? Do you want to join the team? Well, an exciting opportunity has come up to allow you to be part of the Model Rail Replacement podcast. And here's Sam with the details.
This episode is brought to you by Patreon. A huge thank you to our Patreons for their support. If you'd like to help support the show, you can head over to Patreon and search Model Rail Replacement Podcast, where you can show your support and be part of the team.
Hurry, there's unlimited places.